Okay, let's try this. Angus M. McLean. Can you describe the journey / transition from the tenacious belief, in parentheses, necessary delusion, quote, I'm going to make it big, unquote, to the realization that you were going to work as a professional musician for the rest of your life? So first of all, it starts as a dream, and it's a bumpy road with ups and downs, and it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, according to AC/DC, and it's heartbreaking because you may think you got something that other people want, whether it's music or a talent or a skill, and that can be delusional, to be honest. So I was, my journey was starting in Canada in my early 20s. Well, actually, I was in cover bands before I was 20. And in my early 20s, I started playing with Frozen Ghost and recorded with Frozen Ghost. And then I toured with Aldo Nova. And then I recorded and toured with Triumph. And then in 97, I decided I milked everything I could out of Canada and moved to Los Angeles with my music partner. And we started a couple of bands, and one of them was called Powder, and we ended up gaining an audience. So this is to give you an idea. Everybody moves to LA to make it. And that's a delusion as well, because there's so many bands. There's like, you open up an LA Weekly and there's 30,000 bands playing that week in, 200 venues, 5 bands a night. It's crazy. So you had to do something to stand out. So it's really important to stand out. You can't be like, hey, there's 5 bands on tonight, and you just blend in with everybody, because then you suck, essentially. You need to do something that makes you stand out. If it's not backflips, you have incredible songs. One or the other. Anyway, there's a line in between. But my whole point, and I keep saying that because I have lots of points. We ended up, okay, so I remember when we played the gig as Powder for the first time, and it was Friends. And then the second time, it was more Friends. And the third time, there was a lineup that went down the street, and I didn't recognize anybody. Just the word got out how amazing we were. So that kind of blew me away, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. So, but what had happened is we had aged. So I was 31 when I moved to LA. I didn't look 31, but I was 31. And, the record companies at the time, they didn't want 31, they wanted 18 so they could mold them into money-making machines. And in our case, we were too old. Isn't that crazy? 31? I'm 57 now. Look at this guy with the hair. Fuck. Anyways, I remember playing the Viper Room and a lawyer coming to see us. And no, I'm sorry. We had a lawyer. Guy Osiri from Maverick came to see us. And he looked at our lawyer and he said, man, if they were 18, I'd give them anything they wanted. And then our lawyer was like, yeah, but 18-year-olds don't play like that. Maybe they do now. They don't write songs like that. They don't put on a show like that. So he goes, yeah, but I can't take a chance. Anyways, I say anyways a lot too, don't I? Moving on. This is what happened to me. I was so pissed off at the industry because even though we put out a record in the UK and went to Germany and did press, when we came back, I was like, this industry sucks. So we got a really cool opening spot at the Key Club at the time. And we opened for a guy who was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was an actor on the show, and he had a band. So when he played the Key Club, the lineup down the street at noon was fans of the show, mostly teenage girls. So we opened for that guy. And when we went on, people went from first of all, you can't wait to see the headliner. And most opening bands are kind of disappointing. But when they saw us, they went nuts. And that was the beginning of our following growing to impossible parameters in Los Angeles. So, and it was funny because I was talking to the guy backstage and he was like, wow, you guys are really good. And these girls ran up and he's like, oh, here they come. And they're like, man, we came to see you, but you, pointing to me, you guys were amazing. And I thought, it's awesome. Going down the road more, there was a girl at that concert who became a huge fan, and we had a message board at the time because that's what you did. And somebody came on the message board that I frequented and said, hey, there's this girl named Elisa, and she was in a really bad car accident and she lost her arm and she's in the hospital recovering right now. If you could give her a call, that would be amazing because she's a huge fan. So I called her and I go, hi, is this Alyssa? And she's like, it's Elisa. And I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry, Elisa. This is Phil X from Powder. She's like, no, it's not. And I was like, yes, it is. And she said, no, it's not. If this is Jordan, this is a terrible joke. And I'm like, I swear, we met in the parking lot at the show when we opened up for that guy, and we talked for a few minutes, and you said you bought CDs and stuff. And you know what? I heard you were in a car accident and lost your arm, so I'm just calling to see how you're doing. And she goes, I just want to tell you that listening to your CDs helped me get through this whole thing. And I was blown away. And I was also, think about it, hearing those words was like, what? What could be worse? I mean, there's probably worse things, but what could be worse than losing your arm? And she was 18, lost her arm in a car accident. And she said our music helped her get through the whole thing. That was the epiphany. It was like, fuck the industry, fuck the labels, fuck everybody. It's about the fans, man. It's about the fans. You rock the fans. Communicate with the fans. Go out of your way for the fans. And that's how I lived my life after that, because it just became, she even started selling merch at Powder shows with my arm. She just wanted to participate and we wanted to let her. So, I mean, the whole thing is pretty amazing. At the same time, I started doing sessions. And the sessions got to bigger sessions. And then before I knew it, I was playing on records that were selling 5 million plus units. And my name was getting around like, you got to get this guy. So that's pretty amazing. And then, let's see. The only thing that did was I started making a lucrative income doing all these sessions. And the only thing it did was I could put that money towards my band. Because the band wasn't making money. So if we wanted, so yeah, it afforded us the luxury to continue and not be broke all the time and move into a house and buy a house and put in a pool and stuff like that. But that's what it did. The band was still a dream. And then I started doing these videos for Fretted Americana because I had a bro who is an incredible human being, Dustin Jack, and we started talking, and then he wanted me to do one video, and then one video turned into 500, and over those 500 videos, we got millions and millions and millions of views. So one of those views was John Shanks, and it turned into many. We ran into Henson. I was doing a session. He has a studio there at Henson Studios, and at the time he did. And then he came up to me and he goes, man, I couldn't stop watching your videos last night. Holy shit, you can sing and play anything, and you're fucking funny. And I'm like, wow, thanks, man. So 2 weeks later, he calls me and says, hey, I think I have a gig for you. And I said, well, what gig? And he goes, well, I can't tell you over the phone. Yeah, can you come by my studio tomorrow? So I go by his studio and he goes, Phil, I think, how do you feel about filling in for Richie Sambora and Bon Jovi? And I was like, is that even possible? I don't even think that's possible. Well, someone's gonna have to do it. And if it ain't you, it's going to be somebody else. So I think you should. And I said, okay, well, what's the deal here? And he passed me a contract just to sign and a statement of confidentiality. So I couldn't tell anyone. And I got to grab this call. And I don't know where the fuck I was. No. Statement of confidentiality, which means you can't tell anyone. So that became, filling in for Richie Sambora in 2011. I did 13 shows. And then 2 years went by and I didn't have shows. I mean, I was doing stuff with the Drills, my other band, and Powder was no more, and I was still doing sessions. And then when it came to 2013, I got the call to fill in again. And, John is like, you're in Trader Joe's putting bananas in a shopping cart and you're looking at John Bon Jovi. And I mean, the first thing you want to do is, John Bon Jovi calling, check it, John Bon Jovi, what's up, Johnny? And he goes, hey, we need you to play in Calgary tonight. I'm like, Calgary? Wait, what? Tonight? He's like, yeah. So he goes, and I have a favor to ask. We just put out a new record, so if you could learn these 3 songs for tonight, that would be awesome. And I just said, man, you probably don't know a lot, but I'm going to spend the rest of the day and the entire flight going over what I knew 2 years ago, because I haven't played a Bon Jovi song in 2 years. So, and he goes, yeah, I totally get it, no problem. Learn them for tomorrow. Anyways, I laugh at it now, but I was like, holy shit, the stress and the pressure and all that stuff. Anyways, the funny thing is, I've told this story so many times, but one of the things that I leave out about the story is that I'm on this plane, this small jet, flying to Calgary, and I got headphones, and I'm trying to listen to Bon Jovi songs and watch live footage, and I'm hearing na 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 na, and here na 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 na, and over here I'm hearing I'm like, this is not gonna work. Anyways, I got there late. There was plane funk. I got on a plane, the first plane. It was a jet that would have taken 2.5 hours, and they said, something's wrong with the plane. We need to get you another plane. And I call Scott Casey, the road manager, and I go, hey man, the plane's broke. Yeah, I heard. As soon as you get there, you jump on stage. I'm like, wow, no pressure. And then I hear that the new plane is slower. It's 3.5 hours. I go, hey, the new plane is slower. Yeah, whenever you get there, jump on stage. Okay. Then when I get there, it's a 20-minute van ride to the venue. And when I get to the venue, I jump out of the van and thank you, good night. They're done. Encores and everything. And so I was kind of relieved that I didn't have to just jump on stage. And I had the morning and afternoon to work on those 3 new songs and all the Bon Jovi songs that I knew 2 years ago. And I got sound check. Instead of just jumping on stage, I got a lengthy sound check, which made everything much better. And I totally went off the rails on the answer to this question. I realized one day before the Bon Jovi thing that when I was doing sessions, that you did big sessions, you do little sessions. So I was at a little session and there was another guy there that was doing that session, and he also had a day job. So he looked at me, because I kind of look like I probably have a day job too, and he said, hey, what's your day job? I'm like, day job? And it occurred to me at that particular moment that I hadn't had a day job in 6 months, and I was just recording guitars and playing with Powder. And I've had this big smile on my face, and he was like, must be a good day job. I'm like, no, I haven't had a day job in 6 months. He's like, get the fuck out. I was like, I know, right? Like, that's incredible. Because even years before, when I worked on the Avril Lavigne record, I played on like 6 songs, and it took like 4 months to get paid from Atlantic Records. So I had to go back to painting and a messenger service and delivering frozen meat out of a fucking pickup truck with a freezer bungee cable to the back. I mean, that's the stuff I had to do. And I'm like calling Atlantic every day, where's my money? They're like thinking of every excuse on the planet to delay your payment, which I don't know why, but that's what I dealt with. But that moment, that specific moment where I thought, man, if I keep doing this, I could probably just do music and be a professional musician for the rest of my life. And that was my journey, and then some. Thank you for the question. Sorry the video is so fucking long, and that's why it's not on Instagram, because you get 90 seconds.